You know, wood is absolutely everywhere. I mean, from the chair you might be sitting on right now to the actual frame of your house. But have you ever stopped to think about its journey? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden story of your wood products. We'll dig into how we can actually track their path all the way from a sustainable forest right to your front door.
Seriously, just think about that bookshelf over there or your dining room table. Every single piece of wood has an origin story. So was it harvested sustainably, protecting ecosystems and the local communities? Or did it actually contribute to a much bigger problem? That question, it's becoming more and more critical every single day.
And that question, well, it leads us right to the core issue here, the hidden cost of wood. See, when companies source their timber irresponsibly, the consequences go way, way beyond just the price tag you see in the store.
I mean, let's be real. Unsustainable harvesting is just incredibly destructive. It can totally wipe out biodiversity, it harms the livelihoods of people who depend on those forests, and it often fuels illegal logging operations. Now, for the companies involved, this isn't just some abstract ethical problem. No way. It's a massive business risk. We're talking about serious damage to their reputation, major disruptions to their supply chains, and, yep, huge regulatory fines.
So this really is the million-dollar question for everyone, isn't it? From big investors all the way down to you and me. How do we tell the difference between a company that's doing the right thing and one that's part of the problem? Well, the answer really boils down to transparency. And that all starts with having a standardized way to report what's going on.
And that, right there, is where this framework comes into play. We're going to take a look at something called the SASB standards, which are designed to do exactly that, bring clarity and accountability to how companies report on sustainability.
So SASB, that stands for the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, and it's actually now part of the IFRS Foundation, which is a big deal because they're the ones who set global accounting rules. The whole goal of SASB is to give companies a common language, a single way to report their sustainability performance to investors. A good way to think about it is like regular financial accounting, but instead of just dollars and cents, it's for environmental and social impacts.
And this is the part that's absolutely crucial to get. A sustainability accounting standard isn't just about PR or, being green. Nope. It's a tool that connects these big sustainability issues, like where a company gets its wood, directly to its financial health. It's all about identifying the risks and the opportunities that could literally affect the bottom line.
These standards are basically a complete roadmap for companies. First, they define what industry we're talking about. Then, they pinpoint the most critical topics for that industry to report on, things like wood sourcing. And from there, they give companies the exact metrics for measuring performance, the super detailed technical protocols on how to measure them, the whole shebang. It really is a complete toolkit for transparency.
Okay, that's the theory. So let's see how this whole thing actually works in practice. We're going to zoom in on an industry where, let's face it, wood is king. Building products and furnishings. And yep, that's everything from the lumber that builds our homes to the furniture we put in our offices.
And even within that big industry, we're going to focus on just one super important topic: wood supply chain management. This is it. This is the metric that pulls back the curtain and reveals exactly how a company is sourcing its most critical raw material.
So how does this actually work? How do you take a crazy complex global supply chain and boil it down into clear, simple data that we can all compare? Well, it all comes down to measuring what truly matters.
And believe me, the standard gets incredibly specific. It actually all boils down to a single code, metric CG-BF-430A.1. Now, I know that looks like a bunch of random letters and numbers, but it's not just jargon. Think of it as the precise instruction, the recipe, telling companies exactly what data they need to report about their wood.
And it all starts with one simple, foundational number: the total weight of wood a company buys in a year. They have to report the total amount of wood fiber material they purchased, measured in metric tons. That number, that's the baseline. It sets the stage for everything else.
And from that one big number, we get to the most important breakdown of all. Companies have to tell us what percentage of that wood came from certified sustainable forests, and what percentage came from other non-certified sources. Just that one split, that single data point, reveals a ton about a company's real commitment to sustainability.
But what does certified actually mean, right? It's a key word here. Well, it means that an independent third-party group has come in and verified that the forest is being managed sustainably. And that covers a lot. We're talking about protecting biodiversity, conserving water, and respecting the rights of workers and the local communities.
And I'm willing to bet you've actually seen some of these logos on products before.
They represent the big, credible certification bodies like the Forest Stewardship Council, or FSC, and the Program for the Endorsement of Forest Certification, PFC. These guys are basically the gold standard when it comes to verifying sustainable forestry.
Okay, so this is all great, but it's not just about doing the right thing or checking a box for compliance. Not at all. Adopting these standards and being transparent about where your wood comes from, it actually gives companies a real competitive edge. It turns out, good sourcing is just plain good business.
I mean, just look at the two paths a company can take. On one side, you've got all the risks of unsustainable sourcing. Your brand gets damaged, you face potential fines, and your supply chain is totally unreliable. But on the other side, using certified wood lets you meet that growing customer demand for sustainable stuff. It massively reduces your legal and supply risks, and get this, it actually opens up brand new channels for growth.
And look, you don't have to take my word for it. The SASB standard itself says, and I'm quoting here, that getting these certifications can be a potential growth channel. And why is that? It's simple, because it directly satisfies what more and more customers and big clients are demanding.
So the main takeaway here is pretty clear. Proactively managing and being open about your wood supply chain, it's not a defensive move anymore. It's an offensive one. It's not just about avoiding risks. It's about actively building value and securing the future of your company.
Look, a framework like this provides incredible transparency, which is fantastic. But transparency is really just the first step. It brings up one last critical question for all of us. If companies are reporting all this data, who makes sure they actually act on it? Ultimately, it's up to investors, to regulators, and to consumers like you and me to use this information to drive real, lasting change for our forests.